Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Chris Mortimer, the Yacht Hunter, and today I'm on board a 155-foot Trinity yacht with the internet marketing sensation J.R. Ridinger. JR, how are you?
I'm really happy to be here with you.
Good, well thanks for joining me. Where are you from? How'd you wind up a yacht owner?
Well, that's two questions, and that's a big question. I'm from Woodbury, New Jersey, or I was born there.
Okay.
That's South Jersey, the Philadelphia market.
Sure.
You know, the Jersey Shore, Ocean City, Avalon, Margate, that area. And how did I become a yacht owner? That's a long story, but that's what we're going to talk about.
We're going to address that in a couple of different steps here, yeah. So your first job, starting off in New Jersey, what was that?
Well, I graduated as a marine biologist.
Okay.
I had a degree in biochemistry, so I became a marine biologist at Sandy Hook Marine Lab in North Jersey, right across from New York, in the Department of Commerce, NOAA, Department of Fisheries. And that was my start on the water. Always loved the water, and it kind of led me to entrepreneurism. You want to know how?
I want to know the name of your company and what it is exactly that you do.
The name of my company is Market America and Shop.com. We're in internet marketing. We have a very unique paradigm shifting concept called the shopping annuity, which I won't go into. And we do it through entrepreneurism. We set up people on a total turnkey system like Shop.com or Amazon with everything that they need to make as much money as they want, with guidance, help, and fulfillment and everything.
Okay. So I understand you came from rather humble beginnings, especially if you didn't start in internet marketing. Tell me a little bit more about growing up. Do you have siblings?
Okay, I have a younger brother, 5 years younger, and that's it. I had an incredible dad who was a football coach and teacher. He actually is in the Hall of Fame for football coaches. And he was a very positive influence to believe that you could do anything that you wanted. You just had to pay the price. And my mother was a OR nurse. They actually met in the south of France in the war, World War II, and you know, that's my parents.
And you never visualized this from an early age, right?
Always visualized it.
You always did?
Yeah. You know, I believe that you become what you think about, and dreams or visions manifest when you hold them in your mind and explore them and embrace them and believe in them. And it's actually miraculous that things just materialize. But most people never think that way. Therefore, they end up with what they have. You know, we're all a product of our own thinking. And we're exactly where we are in life because of how we think and what we believe. If anybody wants proof, just look at where you are now. That's the proof.
Right.
Right?
Right. So thinking big is more or less the first step to success, right?
Well, it's my motto. Think big, dream big. You'll never be bigger than your thoughts, and you'll never be bigger than your dreams.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So JR, I asked you about siblings growing up. Do you have any family members that are responsible for your success here today?
Oh my goodness. Well, yes, I have an incredible, beautiful, hot, sexy wife that's a genius and a marketing genius, and she plays a big role. I taught her everything I know, and she ended up doing it better than me. I have a daughter, Amanda, who's around 30, and who's in music, and Amber is Lauren and my daughter, an incredible socialite, I think, a brilliant entrepreneur also with her own lines, and she married Dwayne, who is a producer, a actor, and a promoter, and he's, you know, really cool. But the love of my life is our grandchildren. The problem is I think that they're my children. They live with us or in the apartment next door, and when we're up north. But Aiden is 4, and Ava is 3, and Adrian is 1, and they just we're best of friends.
Okay. That's great. I know most of the viewers aren't going to be able to see all the toys that are on board this 150-foot boat. Would you think it's fair to say this is the nicest toy chest anyone has?
Yeah, well, it's kind of displacement. I mean, I don't mean boat displacement, but it just somehow it's like an amoeba and occupies all available space. But I've adjusted.
Okay. So you have your grandchildren, you have your wife, you have your business, you have so many things. What do you like to do outside of the boat, outside of business?
Well, obviously, you're kind of talking about the hobby type of thing.
Right.
I mean, obviously, I'm a yachter, and life kind of revolves around the yachts or the boats. I'm an avid skier, a bump skier.
Okay.
And I mean, this is a funny thing. Actually, the business is one of my hobbies. Some people accuse me of being a workaholic. I say, you got it all wrong. I'm a playaholic, because I love what I do so much that it's play, and they cross over, are transparent. We play hard, we work hard, and they just all merge, together. But traveling, we love to collect real estate, and the biggest love of all is, some people collect money, some people collect real estate, some people collect cars, some people collect, all types of collectors. Our hobby is collecting people, and we have one of the most incredible collections of people. It's kind of like a club of people who have risen to success in different fields. But there's no obligation, and you never have to worry about social media or exposing anything. We're always there for each other, and it's a pretty amazing thing. And so we collect people.
So throughout your successes, you continue to meet great people, not just on a certain level of success, but on the fact that they're great quality people as well, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not an elitist. One of my mottos is don't forget where you came from, because you might not be able to find your way back.
Sure.
But I know everybody from the garbage man. I said, what would we do if we didn't have you?
That's right.
You realize how important it is what you do? He said, nobody ever said that to me before. From the doorman to the CEO and the boardroom, we treat all people basically the same. I don't know how it happens, but we meet people that are at our own level of accomplishment. It can be sports, it can be the arts, music, it can be business, it can be technology, and there's some type of natural affinity. And when you're in the same income bracket, there's no economics pulling at it. And then they lead to other people in their field. And it just grows and grows, and it's really a phenomenon. It's really made life special.
So how does that tie into someone like me, or a young entrepreneur just starting out in their career the way you did a long time ago? How do they catch up to you? How do they get into that same income bracket if that's what they want? How do they accomplish what they want if they're on the outside looking in?
Well, that's a whole series in itself. What my life is about and what our business is about is helping people become successful. Some people say, well, what do you like about yourself? Well, I like about myself that I'm a motivator, an inspirer, and sometimes people call me boss. I said, don't you ever call me that dirty word again.
Okay.
I am not a boss. I'm a leader. I got into business for myself because I did not like bosses. So if somebody can't buy into what I'm doing, I'm not going to boss them, okay? If they're going to rise, they have to believe in the same why, the same reasons, and that's how we do it. But for a young person that wants to be successful, you have to find a passion. And you know, working for somebody else and not you know, being passionate is a bad life. You need to discover something that drives you, envision it. And then it comes down to getting some experience. You have to, the only learning is experiential. It doesn't matter what you learn in a book or whatever. Experiential learning is the only permanent learning. So you need to dive in and get involved with it. Surround yourself with people that are doing it. Get rid of your bar friends and find some new cool friends and immerse yourself in it. And you'll pick up the lingo. You'll start, do webinars, podcasts. On the internet has all types of information so that you can speak intelligently. And before you know it, you start to attract things, even money. You know, people always worry about how can I finance money. You don't need to worry about that if the idea will work. It'll be attracted to you. So a young person, it's find something that you believe, that you love, that you believe in, and don't listen to anybody that's going to tell you it won't work, because that's going to happen. And it's almost amusing. People tell you, don't expect your friends and family to be supportive, applaud you, or compliment you. They want you to fail, and here's the reason. It's easier to criticize you and squash your dream or hopes than for them to do something great themselves. So they want you to fail. And the amazing thing is that the reason that they do it is when you succeed, and they don't want you to succeed, their mediocrity gets exposed. And now they have to deal with their own mediocrity because in spite of their discouragement, you did it anyway. I had one time a guy 15 years, 20 years later into the journey that I knew when I started. He said, "Wow, JR, you sure are lucky." I said, "Wow, yeah, what do you mean?" "Oh man, look at you with your boats and houses and big company and all the things you do. You're a big shot, man. You sure are lucky." I said, "Aren't you the same guy that when I started and told you about the idea, told me it wouldn't work and just, harassed me for a month or two? Oh, well, that was different back then. You really have made it big." When you talk to rich people or accomplished people, they call it fortuitous. So fortuitous. So I said, I've been thinking about that, what you told me. You're right. I am lucky. I sure am lucky that I didn't listen to your ass.
Right.
Right.
100%.
Well.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Yeah, no, 100%. So definitely along the way, you think there were people rooting for you to fail.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's part of the game. And that's part of what separates the winners from those that just plain out in the sea of mediocrity, and life passes them by. I have one of my favorite stories or demonstrations called the dash. That when we're born, we didn't really want to come into this world. We protested, upside down and naked, right? Then, when our day comes, our number's called, and we have to go to the grave, we don't want to leave either. Right. I got a lot on my to-do list. And I actually go to the graveyard. Very beginning, I took my wife there. She thought I was like a lunatic, to talk to the gravestones because it's too late. And here's the interesting thing. Between that birth date, which you had nothing to do with, and that death date, which you have very little to do with, I mean, you can extend it and do some things like the products that we offer to extend it, but every one of those tombstones has a dash between the birth date and death date. So the question is, what did you do with the dash?
I love that.
Making it count.
I love that. That's a
So do I.
Okay. All right. So we spoke a little bit about, what's some of your best qualities that have led you to your success. What about maybe not such good qualities?
Well, I try to ignore, eliminate, or have other people wake me up from my bad qualities, and there certainly are some. But I think the good ones far outweigh them. But one of my weaknesses or nemesis, is that I try to do everything. I just put too much on the table. I keep adding to a fault, and I try to help everyone, and I get immersed in what they're doing because I really feel that I have the ability and the experience to help people, organize their thinking and do the things necessary to change things. So I do that way too much. There's not much life left after I get done. So at any rate, I'm working on that. But my greatest asset is my belief in people and having experience coming from nothing myself to help people pull themselves up by the bootstraps and do the things that that are the formula for becoming, successful.
So you mentioned building from the ground up. Now, my perspective is that a yacht, there's nothing more symbolic of success in today's modern society than a yacht. Yet here you are. You risked, you've sacrificed, you've failed over and over again. Can you tell me a little bit more about the actual failures? Maybe you thought about giving up. Maybe you couldn't pay a bill at some point, but you stayed true to your vision?
Okay, that's a lot of questions in one. I'll tell you, first of all, owning a yacht is symbolic, but it's relative. To some people, I'm on a dinghy because there's always something bigger and better. And I got here because before we had any money, and I went bankrupt before. My wife and I used to go to Wendy's for our big date. I remember collecting pennies and nickels, going through the cushions to get enough money for macaroni. I remember our first Christmas. I said, I can't buy you anything, but next year I'm going to fill this house with gifts. It's emotional, But at any rate, we didn't dwell on that. We were always looking into the future. So we would be in Fort Lauderdale or taking a vacation, and we were in a little 18-foot outboard riding around, and I would ride by the big yachts. I said, someday we're going to have one. We're going to have a house on the water. So even back then, we were envisioning it, dreaming it. Yeah, people say it wasn't possible. The thing that people don't understand, if you put that vision and hope and belief into your mind, the circumstances to materialize it actually appear in your life, one step at a time. So I always love the water. I'm a triple Pisces. All three signs are Pisces. So I probably won't come back in another life because I'm at the end of the spectrum. But at any rate, there's a love for the water. And so when we first started to make it, which is breaking even and not having any bill collectors chasing you, I got a 27-foot Carver. It was like a little cabin cruiser. I drove it myself, learned a lot about currents, and ran into some things. But then it's funny how it happens. The boat wasn't big enough or good enough because I learned more about it. So we got a 37-foot Wilkinson, like an Express, like a Sea Ray type of thing. That's more known. Then I moved up. That was a trip because a couple people trying to push off my mates, push off the piling, broke their arms. It was an episode. And then I got a 105-foot extension Hatteras. So that was really a yacht.
Well, it's a dinghy in comparison to what we're on.
Yeah,
right
well, see,
now.
that's what I mean. It's all relative. But I enjoyed each one of those as much in a different way as I do this. So then we made the big step, and we were doing well to this baby, Utopia 3. Oh, I missed one. We got a 116-foot classic fed ship with a canoe hull, incredible merger with the water. And so that led us to this boat, and now this baby is my, maybe not my last, but the big hurrah. We'll talk about it later, but she's she's a shiznag. It's all new.
What was that word?
Shiznag. Over the top, the most modern technology. Has a lot of unique features. Only a 7-foot draft, 208 feet long, 15 to 20 feet wider than this boat. This can fit inside it, with 4 jet engines that are all separately maneuverable. Goes 28, 29 knots, which is incredible for a boat that size. Only a 7-foot draft, so I can get behind the house. That becomes a big problem with a big boat. It has a gyroscope geo stabilizer that's actually what's used in space, with satellites and space stations. And Navy technology, the patents became open about 5 years ago. So the builder is Rossi Navi. They were into fabrication, built hulls, decided to make their own pedigree or brand several years ago. And they're kind of like us because mine became a family business. No nepotism. Just some people marry money. I married into entrepreneurism. My wife, her brothers, he's the president of the company. They're all just, passionate about what we do, and one unit. Well, he has the same thing. His daughter actually made the deal. Lauren and her made the deal. I had like a fear of building a boat because I heard too many stories.
Sure.
I had too many friends. So we went there, they came here, and we just fell in love. So we're kind of like their poster child for this new era of boats and or yachts. And it's going to be difficult to let go of this, lady. But you can't have 2 girlfriends. You can't have 2 wives. It doesn't work. So a lot of
Right now I have none, so I'll be more than happy to take this girlfriend up here.
Then you can be very aggressive. But at any rate, a lot of memories on this boat. The layout of it, and the fact that it has a shallow draft. The pedigree here was the best boat in the U.S. and then it changed ownership or whatever. But it was a jewel because they built it right under the government specs, so it wasn't commercial. You get the most boat for the money, fast, 21, 22 knots, shallow draft so you can get in. That's a big thing. When you can't get in somewhere, you can't get in. And the layout is so much for entertaining, but it has 5 staterooms and the family is private and separated from the crew. Huge sun deck. You see the aft. I mean, it was just made for entertaining and doing the things that we did. So many memories. I mean, wow.
Do you have a favorite memory on board?
That is really difficult to do because I call them magic moments. And we use the boat all the time. You see, some boat owners, yacht owners, put the yacht in the marina and they visit it occasionally. And that makes the crew happy because why do you become a boat captain or a crew member? you want to have fun. You want to get paid for having fun. And you want to own a multi-million-dollar yacht but not have to pay for it.
Sure.
So that's okay. I figured out how to work around, that one. But part of the problem is that they're never there. They come maybe 3 times a year. We use the boat all of the time. I don't know how I'm getting off on these tangents, but we have a tendency to put it where the house is. So life merges, with the boat, and we use it all the time. If it's just to decompress, take a cruise at night around the incredible Biscayne Bay, whether it's to hop over to Cat Cay where we have a beautiful home, or it's to have a training, a business function, a charity, and the greatest discovery was that it makes me hundreds of millions of dollars.
Having a yacht does?
Well, if you know what you're doing. So here's how. Yeah, you got to be able to afford it. And there's ways of liquidating that. And if you're going to use it for a tax write-off, it's not a tax write-off. You need to document and get real professionals to be able to mitigate that. And there's some things that can be done, but I caution. But at any rate, it's a relationship builder. It's a connector. The business that I'm in, everybody's a potential customer, entrepreneur with us, or a resource in IT or manufacturing, because we're a product brokerage company. So I make all types of incredible relationships, and people will not come to you at your office. They will not meet you for lunch, right? But they'll come to the boat or to the yacht, and the networking and the friendships and everybody entrepreneurial can't help but be entrepreneurial. So they want to know what you do, you want to know what they do, and magic comes out of it. It's difficult to track and quantify in exact dollars, but I'm telling you, it's in the hundreds of millions of dollars. The deals, the relationships, the support that the boat, that the yacht has brought. And I don't know how any other way to do that. Those that shy away from it don't know what they're missing, because they see it as an extravagant expense. I don't see it that way. So
I've always said it's not only a pleasure craft, it's a business facilitator. And for exactly what you just said.
But watch that word, a business facility.
Facilitator.
Yeah, a facilitator.
Not a facility.
It can't be an entertainment facility, but that's easy to do.
Sure.
If you're focused on what it can accomplish.
Right.
For you. So, man, the events that we have, the people that come here, it's just amazing what has come out of it. Not only business relationships and epiphanies, smart people, but incredible friends. So I don't know how you can synthesize that, but it's a thing that a lot of people that are successful don't know that I do know.
That is it's great. Okay. So I've always said.
Was that what you asked me? I don't even know how we got to that.
No, that's perfect. I've always said that, your clients that you're trying to obtain their business, they're getting taken out on the golf course. They're getting sent away on vacation. They're going to the boardroom with you, your competitor, probably multiple times. Having a yacht allows businesses to close deals quicker and with authority. Because what's the first reaction any client or any customer or any friend has when they're getting on board your yacht for the first time?
Well, it's all relative. It depends on how much they know. But there's a lot of beautiful people that are aspiring to greatness, that there's a bit of a wow effect. But the main thing is that they forget about that, and they're able to relax and be around other success-minded people. We don't allow negative thinkers on board. I mean, gangplank, So it enriches them. They enjoy it. They experience something. The mental stimulation I mean, you can look around at the pictures. I can't even name all of the cool or iconic, fascinating people that are on here. But when we have an event, whether it be business-oriented, charity-wise, social-wise, there's synergy. And out of that comes a lot of amazing things. But if somebody in boating, you know, sees it with a different eye, and they see what we've done, and maybe they get some ideas too. But and, you know, and there's people that are of our own economic status that are affluent, and it gets them thinking. You know, it gets them thinking. And I don't never bring it up, but if they bring it up, I'll tell them how this has benefited us, you know, business-wise, success-wise, life-wise.
Sure.
So it was one of my greatest discoveries in life.
You've given me the best material I ever could have envisioned right now. So thanks, JR. So we spoke a little bit earlier about how you've owned several different boats of several different sizes, several different price points. Just like the boats, is success quantifiable at all?
Well, it's quantifiable, but it's relative. So when you say that, my assumption is you're talking about financial success. You know, and to become debt-free, first of all, to break even, and to become independent, not having to depend on somebody else or be ruled by somebody else, is one of the greatest things in life. To be self-sufficient, to have no net, and you can do what you want, is an incredible thing. But you work towards that. So first, it's I got to be able to pay the bills. Then it's I got to break even in the business, which is an art. Then you have I want 100,000 in the bank, and when you hit that, wow. And then I want 500,000 in the bank. Boom. Now the fool starts buying stuff. You know, cash is king. You know, people talk about their paper net worth. Well, whatever. It can change tomorrow. Mine is cash, liquid or hard assets like real estate. So, 500 million. You know, then a billion. And it's not about prestige. It's not. At my point, it's not even about money. It's not. You know, it's not money. It's a cause. But you want to get to that point where you become independent and self-sufficient. That's really the goal. And the number can be all over the place.
Sure.
And for me now, life is about a cause. It's about paradigm shifting concepts that change the world. That's where my heart is. That's where my passion is. That's why I wake up in the morning. And just so happens that we devised a model that we do that through helping other people be successful. So I don't know how I got off on this, but it's really relative. So there's other forms of success: enlightenment, spirituality, you know, happiness, family. So, I mean, what good is all this if you have a family of a bunch of rogues who, you know, screw each other over, and it's a mess.
Sure.
So there's different things, but it is relative. So when I see somebody in a 37-foot boat, I mean, I don't see them as smaller than me. I remember when I was there. Wow, what a great experience. You know, so they feel like they've made it, and they have. You know, and then a boat pulls up that's 115 feet. You don't measure boats by the length of them. Is an old cliche that's inaccurate. But at any rate, I'm happy for them. You know, the thing that we all have in common is we love being on the water. And so, you know, there's no dinghies. You know, that's a dinghy. So that used to be my dream. You know, so
Your dreams change, they evolve, they
right,
shift.
they evolve. So you see what I mean? It's relative. When I got that first boat, I was a success, you know, and I had some great experiences. But you know, what you set in motion has a tendency to carry emotion. So if you're succeeding and starting to make money, your focus becomes on duplicating that and multiplying it, and not resting on your laurels or letting your guard down, and to keep evolving and growing. My motto and my salutation to everybody I work with is keep growing. And we all have problems. I eat problems for breakfast. We all have things wrong with us. But the main thing is that in all of those experiences, both good and bad, are you growing? Because that's what life is about. When you stop growing, you're basically dying or dead. So, big yacht, you know. I don't know, it kind of like snuck up on me, you know, and it kind of just happened because my brain was there, my thinking was there, and I was very analytical, and once I understood how it worked, it made sense to move up. A lot of people say a boat's a hole in the water that you throw money into. Well, you know, you have to ask about the gas price of fuel. You can't afford it. Well, you can afford one boat at some level, but when you learn how to turn it into opportunity and relationships, you know, it's not only what you know, it's who you know. Connections are as important as what you know. There's only 3 ways to figure anything out. 1 is by trial and error. 2 is to pay someone and go broke in the process. And 3 is ask for help from a friend who's better at it than you. And that's the greatest leverage of all. I don't know how I got off on that tangent. This is all your fault, but you know, does that make sense?
There's no fault to be had. This is, you know, again, what are we trying to do here? We're trying to inspire those customers, clients. Anyone like me, I want to catch up to you one day here. I'm not there yet, but I know I'm going to get there.
Okay. Well,
so
yeah,
right
you
now,
will get there.
Right now, though, this is exactly what we're trying to do. So thank you.
Don't let any reason or failure or lack of money or anything prevent you from achieving your dreams. It's not, you know, you can use it as an excuse or a reason, but there's a solution to it. So first it becomes thinking. Then you need to be able to take a goal, no matter how big it is, and break it down and first a plan of how you're going to get there. You need to have a business plan, a strategy, a theory, and you need to vet it a lot with people who know more than you and fine tune it so that it's realistic. You don't get things when your idea is here and reality is here, and they won't meet. That's most people's problem. So you have to figure out the bridge. The money and the people that you need will be attracted. But this is it. You can conquer any goal of any size if you break it down. How many years? What do I have to accomplish each year? Like climbing a ladder or going up the stairs. Then to accomplish that yearly goal, what do I have to accomplish each month? Because you'll get to the 12th month and nothing got done. And then it's funny how you had objectives for the month and you were all excited about them, and the 30th of the month comes up and you didn't do any of it. You know, so you had to break it down to a week. The funny thing about a week, we all have problems. We all have distractions. We all have things that happen. So the end of the week comes by and you just didn't get to it. So the month don't happen, the year don't happen, and the goal don't happen. But it's worse than that. You can only take life one day at a time. So you have to take the weekly goal and break it down daily, because that's the only thing that we can control. And when you do it every day, it adds up to the week adds up to the month, the monthly objective adds up to the year, and all of a sudden, here you are on Utopia 3. That's how it happens. Honest, I swear. People overrate people who are successful. They certainly should be admired, but they're not that great. I mean, I know a lot of people that I help succeed that are making millions, and I tell the people around them, look, you can do this too. I knew them when they weren't there. They're not that good.
Sure.
It just was their thinking and discipline, right? You know. So,
Okay.
does that make any sense? But see, you got to be specific.
It 100% makes sense.
That's general. You have to take it down to each personality, each life, each objective, each passion, and you have to have a why. A lot of people know what they do, but they may even know how it gets done, or they may just be part of the process. But very few people know why they're doing it and why the enterprise is the way it is, what it's really about, what its real mission is. So we always focus on the why. And so the boat wasn't the why. The mission was in the objectives in life, or the why, the business, and they merged. So.
All right, JR, so you mentioned that you have a new boat coming, but what's unique about this boat in particular? What are you going to miss about her once she's gone?
No, this boat represents a period of our life where we started to really succeed, and it caught momentum. And so that was a period where we developed this people collection. First of all, the boat's laid out in such a way that people can really enjoy it and interact, and has separate areas. You know, I could go on and on and on about it. And it's kept up great, but the people that come on board have become part of this special club, and the memories are just incredible. But I mean, from Mark Anthony and Jennifer Lopez were the godparents of their kids. That all came from you know, our life on the boat. And Carmelo Anthony, you know, Mike Piazza, a lot of hip hop stars, you know, Russell, you know, I miss people. Jamie Foxx, we had his mother's birthday on it. We became best friends. I mean, best friends, family. You know, Alejandro Sanz is one of my best friends. I don't know if you know Spanish music, but he is one of the greatest ever. And the experiences with him and Alicia Keys, who Swiss Beats is another great one, the producer, and we're friends. And then he started dating Alicia, and we put them together. You look over there. There's it's upstairs. There's a Grammy medal, you know, for being nominated. They won it, but we actually created a song, Looking for Paradise, and I heard that song 1,112 times. That's how many times it takes, you know, for them to get it to the end. But I mean, you know, it's just Fat Joe, one of our best friends who's in the business, he's my representative to the street, you know. And you know, David and Victoria Beckham, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and the racing crew, they used to, you know, come on. And I mean, the list goes on and on. Iconic people in business that you wouldn't, you know, aren't so interesting to average people, but a lot of them. And great people in sports and music, Cliff Floyd, you know, I could just, it's been a real experience. So this boat has a spirit. First, one of the things that I wish somebody had told me when I got into boating is that these are girls, and they have a soul. They carry the energy. This sounds like hocus pocus, but I've experienced too much to not to be able to acknowledge it. These boats have ears and feeling. They absorb the energy of the people. And, you know, like a beautiful woman, it takes a lot of money to take care of them, and they change their mind all the time, and they do hold grudges. So you got to be careful how you think and what you say. But on this boat, the energy of all those people is somehow aggregated or embodied into the soul of this yacht, and it's pretty amazing. So when you get into boating, you have the tendency to get pissed off about a lot of things that happen. You know, it's kind of like stuff happens.
Is it more expensive than you think it is when you initially forecast your projections?
Well, I'm good at that. The secret to that is keeping the boat up.
Active
When you let it
maintenance.
run down, you're going to have a problem. You have to know the game. You have to know the industry. There's a lot of graft, and you know, I'll take care of you if you take care of me. You have to have a great engineer. Engineer's more important than the captain. And you need to have a captain that you have an understanding with. I know everything about the sea, tides, engines, so nobody can fool me. Well, I didn't know that in the beginning. And so you have to have that, but it's not that expensive. It's 10 to 15% of the value of the boat as a, you know, rule of thumb. So if you're above that, you're doing something wrong. If you're below that, you're lucky, or you're overlooking something. But that's part of the, you know, the expense. It isn't buying the boat that's the most. I always say when you buy a pet, buying it is nothing. It's taking care of it and all the vets and food and all that stuff. It's the same thing with, you know, a boat. Most people, 95% of all people that get into yachting get out of it within 5 years because they can't take it. They can't adjust to it. But if they would look at it differently, they would do a lot. They would do a lot better. And I look at it as a opportunity, relationship, and income derivative that builds that. And so I'm happy. You know, look, nobody likes to spend money that they didn't expect. You're going to spend it somewhere else anyway. You really are. I mean, everybody has their thing. You're going to do something that's going to eat some of that money. At least this produces it back. Was that good?
Yeah,
I mean, that's how I
100%.
feel. You know.
Are you one of the owners? Have you ever put Utopia 3 up for charter or no?
Okay, so this is a really good question because chartering and private ownership and use for your business objectives or entertainment or charities or family are two totally different games. One, it's like baseball and football. You can't play football on a baseball field, and you can't play baseball necessarily on a football field, and they require different skills, etc. They're both sports, but they're totally different. And you know, I understand chartering very, very well, but the incentives, the economics, the crewing is different. So what we do is because we travel in these circles, we get a lot of offers to shoot movies, you know, to do TV shoots, to do photo shoots, to have private dinners. But they're one-day things or two-day things, you know. So I haven't done that, but it's a great way if your problem is I'd like to have a boat, I can't use it all the time. Well, one of the solutions is you can turn it into a business by making it a charter vessel. But you got to get somebody who knows what they're doing in that because it's a cool but very different games. So the answer is no, we don't charter, but sometimes we rent it out.
Okay. So although it might not be able to be chartered by any of our viewers, it is for sale, correct?
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, I hate to say that. It's like giving up, you know, a wife or a girlfriend. You can't have two of them at the same time. Yeah, it's for sale, and you know, it's hard to get a boat like that has what this boat has to offer without spending a lot more. When you buy a boat that's pre-owned, it doesn't mean that much because as the boat runs, you have to replace stuff and fix it all the time. So if you keep it up, it's ABS rated or whatever it is, and all the things have been done right, this boat has been taken care of pristinely because of the type of usage, and we're on it all the time, and all the friends are, and I got a great engineer. So a person moving up can't afford a 20 to 30 million dollar boat, and which is the range that this was in when I bought it. But I moved up from a 37-foot Wilkinson to a Hatteras yacht because I was getting a lot for less money, and I made sure it wasn't, have problems. And the same thing with Utopia too. That boat was 116 feet. A Fed ship hull has things with it that are unexplainable. And I had a fabulous time on that, but I could get into it. You follow what I mean?
Sure.
I could get into it. And people don't know the difference between a $8 million boat and a $25 million boat unless you're in it. Then I got, was able to leverage my way into, into this yacht. So my point is that there's people that are looking to move up. And I've done this myself. I bought boats and sold boats. I know what it's like. I lucked out on this one. The right people. The guy is a consummate yachtman, famous, wrote a book. So that's what it's for. Then the new owner that should be in boating, like he might be an art dealer, or he might be a promoter, or be in some type of business that what I talked about earlier would be leveraged for them automatically. Again, the first time you're not going to be able to afford more boat.
Sure.
This is the most boat that you can get that has a shallow draft, has this much space, is taken care of, and I highly recommend her.
At what price point? What are you listing it for?
When market values are funny because there's not that much trading, there's not that much market base, and at the end of the day, everybody wants a deal. So what I believe the boat should go for, and there's some comparables, is not what I'm offering it at. I don't like this half-seas game. Okay, 14 million. Oh, okay. I'll give you 10. Okay, 12. Okay, I don't like to do that. So it's 10. If somebody wants something with the refit idea, they want something different. Why should I do it? Might not like it anyway, but I'll give them an allowance.
Right.
So we had it sold, and it was a person from a foreign country that was not an honest person. I'll leave it at that. But I love her. I wish she didn't have to find somebody else, but can't have two girlfriends.
That's right.
Yeah.
The new one, rumor has it, is that it has 2 pools on it. Is that correct?
It does.
One on the bow, one on the stern?
I call them live fish tanks, or bait
Live
banks.
bait wells?
Live bait wells, yeah. But it's kind of funny, But and a jacuzzi.
The interior, I would imagine, is more Miami Art Deco style.
No, it's actually minimalistic Italian. Ferretti, and I can't recall the name of the famous designer, but they use the Italians use all these famous designers and brands to build the brand, and it's kind of like a mutualization, so they get good pricing, but it's absolutely stunning. So when you go too far in one direction or the other with a lot of design features that are French or that are, contemporary,
Sure.
it doesn't please everybody. It's just absolutely amazing, and it doesn't push you one way or the other. It's clean, sleek.
Okay. Cool. Well, maybe the next time we get together will be for one of these great parties you have, and we'll get to showcase the new girlfriend.
It gets delivered in, I guess, January, February. It goes in the water in January. Di Vigerio is on the water, but they build it in Pisa and they move it down, close down the streets, and you know.
It's a big
finish
deal.
it. Yeah, it's a big deal. I'm going to go over.
Okay.
But I'm going to invite you on board, and we're going to have another video and a party, and you know.
All right, JR.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you so much. I think you're helping me out to inspire and motivate the next generation of entrepreneurial leaders, maybe helping out anyone that's considering buying a yacht right now, but maybe it isn't quite ready to pull the trigger. So all your insight has been a great account. Thank you so much.
Quite welcome.
Thanks, JR.
Another day, another billion.